Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roll Cougs Weekly. I'm Kendall Janosko.
And I'm Connor Carr-Matthews.
And this is everything you might have missed last week in Chatham sports. On October 29th, the women's soccer team faced off against Fredonia and lost the game 2-1, with the goal scorer being Ainsley Smith for her 7th of the year unassisted. The women's soccer team will end their season with a PAC record of 3-5-2, 7th place in the PAC, and an overall record of 8-9-2. Team leaders include Ainsley Smith for goals with 7, assists with 3, and points with 17, and goalie Katie Kretschik had a goals against average of 1.44, 4th in the PAC.
On October 30th, women's volleyball faced off against St. Vincent, losing 3-1. In that game, Zoe Bateman had 18 kills, Sierra Ritchie had 4 aces with 35 digs, Alyssa Leskovac had 2 blocks and 30 digs, and Ava Plunkert had 48 assists, 2 blocks, and added 18 digs on top of that.
On October 29th, the men's soccer team took on Hiram and won the game 1-0. Xavier Coppin scored his 11th of the year unassisted.
On November 2nd, Chatham women's volleyball also faced Allegheny, losing 3-0. Becca Gesner had 8 kills, Natalie Keogh had 1 ace, Paige Watson had 2 blocks, Ava Plunker had 10 aces, and Sierra Ritchie ended the day with 13 digs. After this week, women's volleyball had a pack record of 5-3, and they're currently 4th in the pack.
On November 2nd, the men's soccer team played in the first round of the playoffs against Allegheny and lost the game 5-0. The men's soccer team will end their season with a PAC record of 4-3-4, 5th in the pack, and an overall record of 7-6-6. Team leaders include Xavier Coppin in goals with 11, 3rd in the PAC, assists with Xavier Coppin at 4, points Xavier Coppin at 26, 5th in the PAC, and Maxwell Cottrell collected 92 saves, which is 1st in the PAC.
On November 2nd, men's and women's cross country faced off in the PAC championships, where they finished 8 out of 11 teams. The top men's time was Kenny Battistelli, with the top women's time being from Kendall Siriano.
Women's ice hockey played against Albertus Magnus on November 1st and won the game in the shootout. The goals will go to Sophia Taylor for her first of her career and of the season, assisted by Lily Schmier. Morgan Black for her first of the season, assisted by Rainey Jessup and Sophia Taylor.
Men's and women's swim also faced off on November 2nd, with the men's team falling to WNJ 154-65, and the women's team falling to WNJ as well 143-135. The top woman performer of the day was Elena Kircher, who won the 200-yard freestyle, the 500-yard freestyle, and the 1,000-yard freestyle. Hannah Urinek also won the 100 freestyle, the 100 butterfly, and the 200 butterfly. For women's diving, Ali Cohen had 2 of the top scores for both the 1-meter dive. For the men's side, Brady Gardner won the 1,000-yard freestyle.
On November 2nd, the women's ice hockey team played their second game against Albertus Magnus and lost the game 2-1, with Lily Schmier scoring her first of the season, assisted by Morgan Black. The women's ice hockey record right now in the UCHC is 0-0-0 with an overall record of 0-1-1.
Looking ahead, on November 6th, Chatham women's volleyball is back in action versus Bethany at 7 p.m. Their head-to-head history is 4-32, with their last match coming November 11th of last year, where Chatham lost 3-1. Overall, Bethany's pack record is 1-7, good for last place in the pack.
Coming up on November 5th, the women's ice hockey team will play against Lebanon Valley at 7 p.m. The head-to-head history between the two teams is 13-4-1, and their last match on January 27th of last year ended in a 2-1 Chatham win. Lebanon's conference record last year was 5-18-2, 4-15-1 overall.
Women's basketball starts their home opener and the Cougar Tip-Off Classic against Penn College at 7 p.m. This is the first match in history between these two teams, with Penn College's conference record last year being 2-10 and 6-20 overall.
On November 8th, the men's ice hockey team will play their home opener against SUNY Geneseo at 7 p.m. This is their first match in team history. SUNY Geneseo's conference record right now is 0-0-0 with a 1-0-0 overall record.
On November 9th, women's basketball also plays against St. John Fisher at 2 p.m. Their head-to-head history is 0-1, with their last match coming November 18th, 2017, a 69-57 Chatham loss. St. John Fisher's conference record last year was 14-2, good for 24-5 overall.
Also on November 8th, the women's ice hockey team will play their game against Utica at 3 p.m. The head-to-head history between the two teams is 0-31-1, and the last time that those two teams met, it ended in a 5-0 Chatham loss. UCHC record for Utica right now is 0-0-0 with a 2-0-0 overall record.
On November 9th as well, men's basketball starts off their season against Carlo at 2 p.m. Their head-to-head history is 2-0, with their last match coming of November 10th last year, where Chatham won 84-73. Carlo's conference record last year was 2-16, good for 4-21 overall.
On November 9th, the men's ice hockey team will play against SUNY Geneseo at 4:30, and women's ice hockey will be against Utica at 1 p.m.
On November 9th, too, women's volleyball is playing their last regular season game against Teal at 5 p.m. Their head-to-head history is 10-25, with their last match coming October 20th of 2023 in a 3-0 win for Chatham. Teal's pack record is 5-3, good for third place, one spot ahead of Chatham. Men's and women's swim also travels to Buckhannon, West Virginia, where they'll play West Virginia Wesleyan at 1 p.m. On November 10th, to round out the week, men's basketball is playing at Robert Morris at 2 p.m. This is their first match in history, with Robert Morris being a Division I opponent. Their conference record last year was 6-14, good for 10-22 overall.
All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. I am Kendall Janosko.
And I'm Connor Carr Matthews.
And we'll see you next week.